Welcome to the full history about Thyge Ottesen Brahe. He was an astronomer who only used his eyes to observe the sky and the stars with. He was also probably the best paid astronomer of his days. He was so well paid, in fact, that Denmark used 1% of its entire wealth one year to give him the island of Wien, where he was allowed to build a castle and a planetarium to observe the stars with. It was very unique in a way, if you see it that way. He was also a geocentric. He was a believer of the globe model. I will of course say that, but to his death he was staying on at the world. The Earth was in the middle, and the sun evolved around the Earth together with the stars of the days. That was known back then. He was so good, in fact, so with his visual naked eye, he could observe a supernova near Polaris. That also makes sense because he's Danish, and Polaris is very easy to see here in Denmark. So. But he was, of course, an obstacle to the full globe model, because he was the best astronomer of the days, and his calculations kept on saying that the planets was revolving around the Earth together with the sun, and this was not good for the heliocentric New World Order globalist agenda. So, in the long run, he had to leave Denmark. Over a dispute with the king. Of course, it's called like a dispute, but the agenda is probably that he was an obstacle to this heliocentric globe model. So he left for Prague, and he arrived there. Also, the Prague astronomical clock. It's interesting to see why he probably picked that spot, because, yeah. And King Edward VIII, also his flat Earth watch is interesting to see. I will add links to these two watches. But of course, he left Denmark and arrived in Prague, and Johannes Kepler, he was then his assistant for a little, around a year or something like that. And Kepler, he had a problem because Thyge's calculations and all his star charts, Kepler could not fit in his heliocentric theory into these calculations. So he invented two new laws, Kepler's first and second law. The first one is called all the planet circulations around the sun is elliptic shaped, and there is a diversion in speed of the planets as they approach the corners of the eclipse. Because if he has not invented these two kind of laws, and again it's nonsense mathematics to explain something natural where everybody can see, but that's what he did, these two laws, because then he could use his theories on top of Thyge's work, so to speak. And he only worked for him 1 year, and then poor Mr. Tycho Brahe died, or got killed, I would probably say, after a dinner at a nobility. Of course, again, one of the elite. So, yeah, he got killed. And his date of death is like the 13th October, 1601. So you can see it's a clear mark of they have killed him. So I will say that. And after his death, Galileo, of course, he came up with this telescope, because still his star charts and all his calculations, it didn't look good for the heliocentric team, so to speak. So they had to do something, and Galileo then invented the telescope. In 1609, he went to Venice and showed how to watch the moon, like in 8 or 10 times better than we are used to see it with our eye. So it was all about, in my view, discredit Tycho Brahe in the long run. You all know it's the same trademark, these ad hominem labels they put on him. He was a drunk, and he got into a sword fight, and all these things. because they have to put away the fact that he was this naked eye observer, and everything was fitting perfectly what he's saying. To his death, he was still geocentric, and he would never avoided from that standpoint. But he was not a flat Earth astronomer. That's not what I'm saying. But still, it's you cannot have on a flat Earth. His calculations, they fit perfectly with a flat Earth. There's a lot of interesting work to see here. So I will say there's not much more to say about dear Mr. Tycho Brahe, other than his last words maybe have been something like this: "May I not have lived in vain." And I will say, no, you haven't. You made a wonderful work, and we can still study it and use it as flat earthers. So it's just digging all the old astronomers. There's a lot of truth hidden out there. So seek and you shall find. Thank you for listening to this little video. It's short, but I hope it's informative for you. Please do research on what I'm saying so you can make up your own mind and it's the truth what I'm telling. Goodbye and thank you for watching.